back at the Motorcraft Gatornationals at Gainesville, Florida. I'm Brock Yates, along with my pal Steve Evans, who's with Connie Coletta, and believe it or not, a very special guest.
Well, I'm with Scott Coletta's father, Connie, and the one they call Mischief here. And you had to be pretty excited watching that last round. The kid alertly got back on the gas.
Yes, I was. I was sure glad he got back after it because it put us into the semis.
Well, you have plenty of experience in funny cars. What advice do you have for Scott, or do you even bother him?
No, just let him do his thing. He does an excellent job driving the car. He's right after it. He knows what the car's feeling like. He can feel it tip over. He does an excellent job.
Now, you sat in the stands and watched plenty of races, too, but when your own kid is in that car, that's got to be a different sensation.
It's different. You can get hurt in the car. You can get burned. That's the one thing that really bothers me more than anything, in catching the car catching on fire, and it can happen.
He's tough, though.
The kid's tough.
So's the old man, believe me. As they get ready to go into the semifinals, that is Scott Coletta's funny car. You'll see him later, but right now, we've got us some Pro Stock action. Round 2, Steve.
Indeed we do. In the far lane, the beautiful Trans Am. That is Butch Leal, who last season gave Pontiac the first ever Pro Stock victory at the Southern Nationals over in Atlanta, GA. Butch is a 41-year-old California pro now based out of Black Lick, Ohio. His competition, well, he is also driving a Trans Am, a beautiful black and silver car. That's a husky boy named Dempsey Hardy from Vero Beach, Florida.
This could be an interesting one. As we know, Butch Leal, a master of the light, but Dempsey Hardy's been running very well with that car lately, and it could be a lot closer than you might think. Leal on paper could be the favorite, but Dempsey Hardy, I'm sure, has upset on his mind.
Oh, I totally agree. It's Leal who is usually in that upset role. Here you would have to count him as a favorite, but give a good chance to Dempsey Hardy. They move in very carefully, as the Pro Stocks do. The RPMs come up to almost 8,000, and then they'll just sidestep that clutch when they see the yellow light. Dempsey Hardy carrying the front wheels beautifully. Look at Hardy. He is in this thing. Dempsey Hardy, Butch Leal. Whoa, did he give Leal a scare? Dempsey Hardy left the starting line first by 300ths of a second. Ran a 7.65 to Leal's much quicker and winning 7.56.
Top speed a little bit closer, though, Steve. 182 miles an hour for Dempsey, 183 for Butch. It turned out, though, that it was right about mid-track that Leal took command of the race and went on to win. But as you said, Dempsey Hardy gave him virtually everything he expected, and then a little bit more. Almost a half a car length win.
Our next pair of Pro Stocks are fired and ready during their semi-stationary burnouts. This is the Firebird of Don Campanella. He will be up against the Camaro of Jerry Ekman. Interesting story on Don Campanella. He's from Wayne, New Jersey, and he struggled so much in qualifying that he was going to load the car and go home. And his crewman said, Don, we came all this way. Let's try another run. They qualified third. Jerry Ekman from Ventura, California, has that pretty Camaro. Has never won an NHRA national event. But, boy, he's tough in the first, second, sometimes even the third round. Ekman is in the far lane, the near lane, Campanella.
Hard to pick a favorite in this one. These guys are both good runners, but as you say, not quite yet ready to challenge the Gliddens and the Warren Johnsons, but it could be a very, very interesting race right now.
Well, Campanella qualified so much better than Ekman did that I would ride. Well, in fact, Ekman has red-lighted. I think that was a case where he felt he needed an edge off the line. He gambled and lost. So pay no attention to who crossed the finish line first. Don Campanella wins it here in the near lane at 763, 180 per.
Well, I suppose, Steve, you get percentage-wise more red lights in Pro Stock than any other category because these guys are so competitive. The cars are so evenly matched that you have to squeeze that light. You have to have that microsecond reaction time or else you're simply not going to win. You not only have to have big power and great handling, but, boy, the reaction time is just so critical. And in that case, it was a Ekman that just squeezed it too close.
Okay, our next pair of Pro Stocks are fired and ready. 2,350 pounds, 500 cubic inches maximum, pump gasoline, 2 4-barrel carburetors. That's pretty much the rules. In the far lane is Gordy Rivera from Yuma, Arizona. In the near lane is Gene Fashing. Both of these guys have traveled a lot of miles to be here at the Gatornationals. Fashing has an Oldsmobile Calais, and he is all the way from Winsted, Minnesota. Just a dedicated drag racer, still looking for that first big one. Gordy Rivera, boy, he's come so close. He made the final rounds. He's enjoyed some beautiful hole shots. I know, Brock, you've enjoyed interviewing the guys. Reminds you a little bit of Lee Trevino. Really an amusing guy.
Good, fun guy. Here's an interesting contrast between the kind of new and old cars. Fashing is in one of those narrow, tiny little 86 Oldsmobile Sierras, tiny little frontal area. Gordy is in one of the larger, older, really more conventional Camaros. You'll notice, if you get a headshot on these two cars, that Gordy's car is considerably wider and pushes a lot more air. Let's see if it makes any difference.
They are off the mark right together. At half track, it's still a pretty good race, but it looks like, yes, in the far lane. Gordy Rivera pulls it off. No parachute, but this is a good, long racetrack. He'll gather it up. 761 at 175 miles an hour for Gordy.
So it was just a question of big power, and Gordy pulled it off. He did give away a little bit, as I said, in frontal areas, perhaps streamlining, but it didn't make any difference. He goes on, and there is the man who has won more Pro Stock races and more Pro Stock titles than anybody else, Bob Glidden.
Look at the back of Glidden's car, Brock. The wheelie bars there that are kind of coated with some kind of white substance. Well, earlier I found out all about that. The Pro Stock automobile is certainly the most sophisticated in drag racing. But conversely, one of their most important chassis tuning tools is a bottle of white shoe polish. You nurses will recognize this. They take the shoe polish and coat the wheelie bars. Now, what this tells them, for example, let's say the car leaves the starting line, the left wheelie bar barely touches the ground, the right one leaves a long white track. Then they know that the car is loaded too heavily on the right side. An adjustment needs to be made. Ideally, these wheels should just barely graze the racetrack for 3 or 4 feet and just leave a minor little white stripe. If it does that, the chassis set up right.
That's the kind of thinking that brings championships, and Ned has done it 6 times for this man, Bob Glidden from Whiteland, Indiana. Bruce Allen, he's in the famed Rare Morrison Camaro, one of the strongest motors under that hood that you'll find anywhere.
Absolutely. Now, Glidden posted a personal best of 7:49 here in qualifying at the Gators. So count him a slight favorite, but anytime it's Ford versus Chevrolet, don't you know it gets the fans' attention. That battle goes back to the early 60s. It is Glidden away first. Glidden with a 4/100 hole shot. But wait a minute. Look at the power in the Chevrolet. Pulling even end ahead is Bruce Allen. 769 at 178 miles an hour. He powered by Bob Glidden, Brock.
A classic drag racing confrontation, about as good as they ever get in Pro Stock. Look at that launch of Bob Glidden's, a beautiful hole shot. The Ford looks as if it's on its way to victory right there, but it was the car, the Camaro of Bruce Allen from Arlington, Texas, that pulls it out just before they get into the eyes. There it is, about a half a car length, 178 miles an hour for the winner.
Glidden's crew was doing a victory dance on the starting line when they saw that hole shot, but it was not to be. Here's how the semifinals will set up in Pro Stock. Bruce Allen for Chevrolet. Butch Leal for Pontiac. Leal will have the lane choice. That should be a beauty. It'll be Don Campanello, really the surprise so far in this race, up against Gordy Rivera. Those are the Pro Stock semifinals, and we'll be back with more from the Motorcraft Gatornationals.
Part about drag racing is that when you're not watching them run, you can go back in the pit area and watch them wrench the cars. And that's what's going on right now in Ed McCullough's pit area as they get ready for the semifinal round of the funny cars. Boy, these guys have got some work ahead of them, Steve, because remember, he had some problems on his last pass.
All right, it is time for the semifinal round of Top Fuel Dragster Racing here at the Motorcraft Gatornationals, and that is Dan Pastorini. He is up against Big Daddy Don Garlits, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL, 14 years in all, up against unquestionably the greatest drag racer of all time, who was very concerned with those front wheels and their skinny little fan belt style tires. In fact, while we were away, Garlits was on the public address system and told the fans that he was sorry he wouldn't be able to run 270, that he was going to try to run only as fast as he had to win. Now for Dan Pastorini, you'll recall, he defeated Shirley Muldowney in round 1 with a hole shot. I talked to him earlier about his success today. To beat Shirley Muldowney and Don Garlits in one afternoon, I don't know of a Top Fuel driver who hasn't had that dream. You've got a shot at making it reality here.
It is a dream come true, really, Steve. I'm really excited about it. We've been working real hard for the last year. I got to give credit where credit's due. This car wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for Donnie Couch. He's done a tremendous job getting the car ready. And as you know, we're not a high-dollar operation, but, you know, we get the job done sometimes.
You ran a 5:48 in qualifying. If you can go back to that, you will be very competitive against Garlits.
I think we're capable of doing that. This morning we had a little tire shake against Shirley, and then we went out and remedied that the second round. We just did a little squirt for about 200 feet, and the car left real good, so I shut it off, fortunately, because we had the blower pulley tighten up on us. So we.
Will Donnie risk hurting the motor to beat Garlits?
we're gonna try to win. Let's put it that way. We're gonna try to win like if we had $1 million sponsorship behind us. This is what we came here for.
That is no longer Dan Pastorini, ex-quarterback. That is Dan Pastorini, drag racer. And you heard him say he's had that dream of beating Shirley and Big Daddy. Well, he's got one of them down, Brock, and now it's time to meet the master. Don Garlett's got to be concerned about those front wheels, but it is Garlett off the mark first. Don Garlett with the hold up, but look at Pastorini. Pastorini was so close. In fact, the scoreboard says it all. 272 miles an hour, the fastest speed in history. The crowd has gone nuts. It is bedlam. And give a little credit to that to Pastorini, who pushed Garlett through the 270-mile-an-hour barrier.
He sure did. He gave Garlett's a whole lot, all the way down to quarter mile. Garlett's just roared through the lights, though, at the record-shattering pace. Remember, this was a racetrack that brought us 260 miles an hour. And now we see 272, the fastest ever run by an internal combustion engine dragster. Rocket cars will run faster, but it's still a moment to remember. But there's a penalty. Garlett's has shed yet another front tire.
You can hear him in the background. The crew says it. You punched a hole in the air. You drive right through it. 272.
Oh, my God. Too fast for the record.
Too fast for those bands on those rear wheels.
Yeah, we got to have some real tires up on the front of this thing.
You know, I heard you say to your crew, I'm not going to try the 270. That's over with for this race. There it was.
Well, it's just running good. You know, you can't hardly help yourself. You basically tune, and we're taking nitro out of it. It's just that it's so slick.
The concept obviously works.
Yes, it's the design of the future. There's no question about it. We'll have the tire thing fixed. We've already got tires. We got some little airplane tires. That's going to do the job just nice.
Oh, by the way, you ran low ET as well, a quicker 540.
Great. Okay.
Big Daddy, the fastest man in the world of drag racing.
But right now, all he's thinking about is the next round. Garlett's just kind of eats records and digests them and goes on to something else. All right, semifinal round. Yet again, this pairing of these two veterans, Gary Beck and Dick LaHaye, the defending champion here at the Motorcraft Gatornationals.
And, of course, Gary Beck, as I said earlier, won the World Finals just this past October. So both of these would be worthy opponents for Big Daddy Don Garlett, and I'm sure both of them want a shot at him. Now, Gary Beck has been running quicker and quicker with each round. Dick LaHaye, as we heard him say earlier, that was a brand new car when he came in here, so we really don't know what its potential is.
Absolutely right. And LaHaye works so hard with his daughter Kim to get this thing ready. They haven't even put a paint job on it yet, Steve.
All right, they are staged and ready. Gary Beck in the far lane, near lane, Dick LaHaye. It is LaHaye away first. Beck smokes the tires, but he won't give up. Beck charges, not enough. Dick LaHaye wins it. Kim loves it. LaHaye at 5:47. He will be a worthy challenger to Garlett. Beck at a 5:51. An incredible elapsed time considering how hard he smoked the tires. Big Daddy heads back to the pits. He now knows that he will face Dick LaHaye in the Top Fuel Finals.
So there you have it, as Big Daddy heads back to the pits for yet another tire change after that 272-mile-an-hour pass. That's Ed McCullough's crew. They're still thrashing to get ready for his race against Scott Coletta. That's his competition. Now let's go to Dick LaHaye, who has the dubious distinction of racing Garlett's.
Well, this sets up as one heck of a Gatornationals final. The defending champion, Dick LaHaye, against Don Garlett. A 5:47. You can race with him.
Yeah, well, we felt we could, as long as we're learning about this new car, and every time we make a change, it responds, and I'm really liking this thing.
And from the looks of the motor, maybe there's more in it.
Oh, yeah, I think so. We found something that last run that we thought, gosh, how come we didn't catch this before?
You were strapped in the car. You could see the scoreboard. Garlett's run 272.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's got it zipping down there in the lights, don't he? And it's unreal. I don't know how fast this thing will run because I haven't run it through the lights yet, but we're going to try.
We're about to find out, huh?
That's it.
One of the really good guys in this business, Dick LaHaye, as he gets ready to face off against Big Daddy Don Garlett in the Top Fuel Finals.